Managing hunger and managing your appetite through a dieting phase is going to make or break your diet, and essentially is a crucial component to whether you're going to finish out that diet when you want to finish it out, whether you're going to enjoy that diet as much as you possibly could. Managing hunger can easily be done, and I want to give you my best tips around it today. Having dieted for multiple years, I do have my ways of dieting and being able to manage hunger and manage my appetite to make sure I still adhere to the diet on a daily basis. What you'll notice is when hunger does start to pick up, appetite does start to pick up as you progress through your diet, which is essential for the body to get into the position it wants to go and the position you want it to go more than anything. You're going to get hungry, okay? Simple as. And I want you to first, before we get in any further, to understand, if you're hungry, it means it's working. If your appetite is really high, it means that it's working. And I think that in itself can definitely make things that little bit easier, because you might wake up some morning, or you might be going to bed some evening, which you shouldn't be, because what I'm about to say to you here in today's video is about managing all of these things that we're going to run into in terms of our hunger, in terms of our appetite on a day-to-day, so we make life as easy as possible for us. But understand that that is a part of it that is going to take us to the next step. We're probably going to wake up the next day, we're probably going to be looking a lot leaner, we're probably going to be down on the scales, which is going to be a great feeling in itself. Instead of whinging, moaning about it, firstly understand, we decided to do this, we decided to diet. We could just say, I'm not going to bother dieting, I'm going to give in to the temptation here, I'm going to make life easy for myself. But think of the feeling that's going to come from that. It's not going to be great, lads, is it? So I want to go through everything that I do and have done over the last close on 10 years that I've spent dieting every single year, the mistakes I've made, and how I've been able to build up the management that I have for my appetite and the tips that I have around managing appetite. So let's get into it. If you're new around here, we are daily vlogging my full prep for my first bodybuilding show. Do click subscribe, drop the video a like before we crack on. I'm taking you through the ins and outs of it, and I think those videos in itself give you a lot of detail and show you the day-to-day of me on the diet. You mightn't be doing a prep, you might just be going through a cut for the summer, but as I always say, the principles are the exact same. I'm just going at it with a little bit more of an extreme. So first step I can give you is looking at your overall plan, okay, and the actual diet, the way the diet is set up, okay? Are you on a meal plan? Are you tracking macros? Not that they make a massive difference, but food sources is going to be a big part of it first and foremost, and picking food sources that are going to satiate you, that are going to leave you feeling full throughout the entire day. Foods that have a bit of bang for their buck, not working your macros out so you can fit in stupid stuff that tastes nice every single day. Fit in good quality food that fits your macros every single day if you're tracking macros, or build a meal plan that looks really enjoyable and put some effort into preparing that food that you look forward to every single meal, every single day. And don't waste food. Don't waste calories on this, trying to fit this in and trying to fit that in. Oh, if I don't eat here, I'll be able to fit this in tonight. I'll be able to fit in 100 grams of this if I don't have this. Just get a plan that is going to be sustainable for you across the board. That is the biggest game changer for me in terms of bringing appetite down as a whole, bringing food focus down as a whole, which is another big part of it. Appetite, food focus, hunger, cravings, they all go hand in hand. So that would be the first thing, is setting up a meal plan that is going to be in and work around your routine that you can stick to on a daily basis, okay? And then looking at it and thinking, okay, I'm up at 6 o'clock in the morning, I don't go to bed until 11 o'clock at night or 10 o'clock at night. Is this set up so that I know I'm going to go to bed having nailed my food for the day? All right, and that's where we get into it that little bit deeper. The tips around that is, when you wake up first thing in the morning, and at the moment you might be eating very early, could I push out that first meal? Could I shift all my meals for the entire day back a couple of hours? It all stems from the end of the night, and it's a problem I do deal with clients a lot of the time, is getting to the end of the night, their food is finished for the day, hunger is starting to creep in, they're idle, watching television, scrolling on their phone, thinking about food because they're not busy. Is shifting that food back a little bit, so not that we're just eating and going straight to bed and not digesting the food, but going to bed on a relatively full and happy stomach, that we're not thinking about food, we don't have that much time to be thinking about it, we're having our last meal, it's filling us up nicely, we're satiated, we're happy for the day, we can go on about going to bed and going to sleep. That would be the first thing, and that comes from shifting food back a little bit in the day. Are you eating first thing in the morning? Could you potentially not be eating first thing in the morning, and just pushing that food back a little bit? If you find you're hungry in the morning, okay, you're more than likely just more dehydrated than anything. We can use things like, again, getting up first thing, getting water into the system, getting hydrated first and foremost, okay? Then we can look at things like our caffeine, okay? Using caffeine, a black coffee, whatever kind of energy drink you might like there. If we're on a diet, zero sugar, energy drink there early in the morning as well, that kickstarts our day, suppresses our appetite a small little bit, and we push out that first meal, so that we're not getting to 6 o'clock in the evening and having our last meal, but we're not going to bed until 10 o'clock at night, that kind of way. And then we look at the actual day to day. If you are busy, are you going to be thinking about food? Not really, not that much anyway, for the majority of your diet. Okay, maybe in the latter stages of it, as things do get that little bit harder, your willpower and discipline just needs to be, at the top over any hunger and over any cravings that you might have. But the busier you are, the less hungry you're going to be, the less you're going to be thinking about food, the less focused on food you're going to be. So just make yourself as busy as you possibly can be, lads. And that might mean, you might be thinking, but I'm only, working 8 to 5, lad, and then I have my gym done and everything, and I've nothing to do for the rest of the day. Well, start, digging that little bit deeper in. That obviously does take up majority of your day, but you might be in school, you might be in college, you might have a lot of time on your hands. Just start picking up things, possibly a hobby that is going to take you away from the kitchen. It might take you away from the house, where food is, right there for you, in front of you, where we can give in. When we're at a position where we're absolutely starving, we haven't eaten in a couple hours, and the kitchen is right there, our likelihood of opening up the fridge and just sending it is going to be a lot higher. You know what I mean? We need to be smart here on a day-to-day basis if we want to be successful all the way through our diet, and just get the diet wrapped up. The diet is temporary. We want to make it as temporary as possible. We don't need to be dieting our whole lives. We don't need to be dieting year round. We just want to get in and we just want to get out. I was just checking if the mic was on. And then that comes to our next thing is, I had it in my head there, I'm just trying to think. Yes. When it comes to appetite, another massive thing is having food with you, okay? Having food prepared. We never want to leave ourselves go too long without eating a meal and without getting to the point of proper ravenous. That ravenous feeling that you get and you just want to eat the house out. Okay, we always want to just get to a point where there's a nice little bit of hunger there. That's naturally going to happen. But then we're getting a meal in and we're having a meal and we're satiated. And then we're spending a little bit of time actually being present with that food, just eating the meal. Even though it mightn't have us satiated and we mightn't be full, if we just slow down actually eating the food, actually watch yourself eat the food, chewing nice and slowly, instead of just being like watching television for the whole thing, which is, what I like to do as well, but I'm actually like in the know that I'm eating this meal now and I'm chewing it slowly. I'm just taking my time with it a little bit, which isn't always the case. Sometimes we do have to get the food in and crack on again, lads. I know that. But also spending a couple of minutes, 10 minutes after the meal, knowing, okay, I just ate a meal there. Even though the bowl, the plate might be empty, the lunchbox might be empty, I did just eat a meal. The body is satisfied here, and letting the brain signal that it's just had a meal. It's going to live. It's going to survive without food for potentially the next couple hours, okay? They're little things, little tips and tricks that you can be looking at. We can look into all the other small little things that do help curb appetite, like our fizzy 0-calorie drinks, A big thing, lads, is just water intake, and I know it's something you never think about, but don't tell me you're hungry and you're only drinking 3 litres of water for the day. Okay? You know, get that water intake up. You know, train yourself to drink a lot more water on a daily basis, especially there first thing in the morning, and then you can look to start tapering that off in the night. So you're not getting up during the night, going to the toilet and everything, which leads us into another aspect, you know, looking at our sleep. You know, if you're sleep deprived, your decision making and your overall energy levels, your, you know, just thoughts around everything are going to be a lot higher. Right? Less sleep is going to affect our hormones. It's going to affect our hunger signaling through leptin and ghrelin levels. It's going to throw us off whack. Okay, we want to prioritize our sleep. It's going to leave appetite in a really good spot, a better spot than if we were to neglect our sleep. And then looking at stress management, you know, again, when cortisol levels are higher, stress is higher, our appetite is also going to follow with that. And it's all about getting those small nitty gritty bits in order before we start looking into, okay, you know, what can I do with the diet here? It's just setting up all those things in our favour so that we can go from the start of the day to the end of the day having nailed our diet. I know this one was short and sweet, but I've just arrived home. I need to get in. I need to get back to work. I hope you enjoyed episode number 3 of Car Talk, talking on different things to do with hunger, different things to do with appetite. Cravings are going to be another massive part of it, lads, and cravings are going to be something that you're going to have to get over and understand. This is temporary. That food that I'm craving right now is going to be there in X amount of weeks when I need to have it. And obviously managing when we finish the diet is a big thing we need to speak about as well, you know. And as I approach the end of my shows, going into the reverses, it's going to be something I'm going to have to deal with as well and get better at that I've ever done before from previous diets, so we don't undo a lot of the progress that we do make over the next couple of weeks, okay? But ask yourself again, you know, sometimes you just have to sit back and just be like, okay, before we make a decision, you know, when we're on a diet and we're digging in nice and deep, sometimes we can be very irrational with our decisions, very impulsive with our decisions. Just sit back for a second, have a think. You know, a lot of the stuff going on in the last year has been in my head, having to think about stuff and think, okay, I'm okay here. Okay, I'm actually okay. I'm not doing too bad. Okay, I'm going to live, right? It's not the end of the world. This diet is going to be over soon. I'm just going through the, you know, the maybe tougher stages of it. And as always, if you do need help, you do need that accountability, which, as I said in the last episode, is the biggest thing that everyone is missing out on, you know, to take them through a successful phase. Do click the link in my bio below. Do click the link in the description and we can chat about coaching. We can book a call one-to-one. I can lay out a full roadmap for you on what the successful phase can look like over the span of a year. That's what I do with absolutely everyone. And we can take the steps that we need to put in place to fix what you're currently doing that's not going right, not making the progress. Put the steps in place, put the plan in place and get things moving, you know, and not make the mistakes that you do not need to be making that I've made over the multiple years that I've been trying to do this and trying to help you not make them as well. I hope you enjoyed the video. Do drop a like, subscribe if you haven't already. As always, I'll see you tomorrow. 2 bonus tips for you. First one, important one, stop being a little bitch, all right? The diet is going to be done sooner if you just stick it out. Adhere to the diet. Enjoy it, all right? Enjoy getting lean. You're going to be looking great for the summer. If you don't adhere to it and if you don't stick to it, you're going to be kicking yourself that you didn't spend a couple of days being that little bit hungry, having a few little cravings that you could have just done and got by, because now the time has gone by. We're 8 weeks down the line again and you should have stuck it out. But if you do as I say on here every single day, you are going to stick it out and you're going to thank yourself when the time does come. You're in the best shape of your life. You feel amazing and you stuck it out, and you will be super proud of yourself, and the enjoyment that you'll get from that is enough in itself. And as always, take it one day at a time. That's exactly what we're doing on here, and it's been an absolute game changer for us. We're not thinking about tomorrow. All we're doing is worrying about what needs to be done today, going from the start to the finish, having been successful and having ticked all the boxes across the board.